Hey guys, today we're all going to embrace our inner road rage and talk about the Peacock original series, Twisted Metal. Let's get into it. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Till the End of the Line podcast. I'm your boy, Juan G, rocking it solo today. Unfortunately, Kike hasn't been able to film for a while, so I'm going to give you guys just a solo episode. Hopefully, you guys dig it and stick around. I hope you guys aren't just tuning in for Kike. That'd be a real bummer for me. No, I'm kidding. We still have little Kike here. He's hanging out right there, chilling. But yeah, so I'm going to be talking about the Peacock original series, Twisted Metal. Hopefully you guys have checked that out. If you haven't, pause this now, go check it out. If you have Peacock, if you don't, I recommend you guys download the streaming service. It's a really good streaming service. It's got the entire run of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That was my selling point. But yeah, so I'm going to be talking about that, my likes, dislikes, and yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. But first, I got a little bit of nerd news for you. All right, so first thing up in nerd news, the next Superman saga project is expected to start production soon. Now, I believe that what they're referring to is the Supergirl film, which is going to follow the Women of Tomorrow comic line. And I know a lot of people had like some, I don't know, like letdown or like questions as to why they would portray Kara El like that, as like in the end of spoilers if you haven't seen Superman. Hopefully you have. At the end, she was kind of like a drunk, early, like mid-20s girl, just out having fun and stuff like that. And that's because in the Woman of Tomorrow, she's doing that because she's depressed about her planet dying and her family dying. So she's just kind of like drowning her sorrows in in partying and alcohol and stuff like that. So I think that's the project that they're talking about, because I don't expect that they would already be starting production on Superman 2, because I know James Gunn has a bunch of other projects that he wants to push out first. So yeah, that's my thoughts. But if you guys know anything else, please let me know. Drop it in the comments. Next bit of news: Marvel Studios still plans on a Spider-Man and Kingpin crossing paths. So there's been a lot of rumors speculating that Kingpin is going to be in Brand New Day, and that would make sense if they're going to be focusing on more of a street level Spider-Man. I hope that happens. I'm not going to put too much stock into that right now, just because I don't know if, because I know that Kingpin is heavy into the Daredevil series, so I don't know if they're going to be bridging that, but this should be coming out after season 2, so maybe season 2 might give us a little bit more Easter eggs as to whether that's true or not. So I look forward to seeing that and finding out. Next bit of news: the live action TMNT The Last Ronin movie is still in the works, and now I'm super excited for that, because as you all know, I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fan. So, and that was one of the things I remember even saying it on a previous episode. It was I think our first live episode, where I was asked what's a project I would like to see come out, and it was the Last Ronin movie. So I am super excited for that to come out, and we will for sure be covering that. Absolutely. Next bit of news: Shrek 5, for all you animated and Shrek fans, has been unfortunately delayed to June 30th, 2027. So we still got 2 years for that to come out. But I think we'll be getting the Donkey. I'm not sure if it's a movie or a show. I believe it's a movie. But that should be coming out before that. So hopefully that'll tie us over. And some more Spider-Man news. Brand New Day has wrapped filming in Glasgow. So we got that portion of the filming wrapped. And they're not completely done with the film, wrapping up the entire film, but I know they are done wrapping in Glasgow. And I'm curious to see how Glasgow ties in, because I know it's street level, so maybe they just use Glasgow for the scenery. Maybe it looks a little like New York. Who knows? We will see when we watch the movie. Some other news: Marvel Zombies will release on September 24th, and that is very close to coming out. So we got a little bit over a month for that. So we will be covering that. Looking forward to that. Speaking of Marvel Zombies, Mahershala Ali will not be voicing Blade in Marvel Zombies. Instead, Todd Williams will be taking over, and Todd Williams has taken over for Mahershala, and also in the animated show Invincible, which is interesting because they have Blade, at least in pre-concept artwork. Not as of now, Blade looks like Mahershala Ali, so that's interesting that he's not going to be voicing him. I wonder if they're going to keep him looking like Mahershala, or if they're changing up his look a tiny bit. We shall see. They're probably going to keep him looking like him, but I'm curious why he's not voicing him. That's interesting. Last bit of news: Zoe Kravitz will not return as Catwoman in the Batman 2, and now I'm curious about that because I don't know if that means Catwoman won't be in it at all, because I know Zoe Kravitz is not going to be in that, or if they're recasting Catwoman. So hopefully we get some more news on that as we get closer to the film coming out. But yeah, I'm interested to see what's going on with that, because she was even named at not her specifically, but Selena Kyle was named at the end of the Penguin series, which was a great series. We covered it. Go check our episodes on that one. But that she was name checked in that with I'm forgetting the character's name already. I forget the character's name. Is it Rose? No, I forget. But yeah, she was named as being her half sister or something like that, I believe. So we will see. Hopefully, we get more info on that, on what's going on with Batman 2. So that's going to do it for Nerd News. Make sure to like, subscribe, click that notification bell to keep up with the latest in Nerd News. So that does it for Nerd News. Now, this series I've been wanting to talk to you guys about for a while. I wanted to cover season 1, but unfortunately, Kika hasn't seen it yet. So, been patiently waiting, but not sure if he's seen it at all. I don't think he's seen it yet, but took this opportunity since he hasn't been able to come through. I figured I'd talk to you guys about it. It's doing pretty well. It's got a season 2 already. IMDb has it at 7.3 out of 10, which is not too bad. Doing pretty good. I mean, 7.3 is a pretty solid rating, I would say, on IMDb. And this show stars Anthony Mackie, Stephanie Beatriz, as you all know from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Encanto. Anthony Mackie, of course, you guys know from Captain America, stuff like that. This show is an adaptation of the 90s video game Twisted Metal. I was a fan of that game, PlayStation 1, I believe that, it was on. And it came out, was a big hit, had a bunch of versions of it, a bunch of sequel games and stuff like that. I remember playing it. It was a lot of fun. Now, season 1 didn't really keep it too close to what the video game is. But I like that. I like that they kind of took the concept and made a story out of it, which was interesting. But season 2 is really embracing what the game is, and is kind of modeling straight game to show kind of deal. There is a tournament, which is kind of like a game round, or the tournament is styled like the game is, so which is pretty cool. And it was what I was looking forward to seeing. But I wasn't mad at the story in season 1. It was something interesting. Kind of kept you going. It still gave us your classic gunfights and what Twisted Metal is, the driving shoot 'em up style stuff like that. Anthony Mackie, I'm enjoying his character on it. His character is kind of like a goofball, which I feel like Anthony Mackie really plays well. He's really good at comic relief. Like, I know he can play the serious roles, and we see it in Captain America. You kind of see it when he's Falcon a little bit. But besides that, I don't really know too many films where he's played like the plucky comic relief. But he does a really good job at it, and that's kind of like what his character is. Kind of he's really good at what he does, but he's kind of a goofball in a way, and always cracking jokes, and it's kind of the wise ass and stuff like that. So it's really interesting to see. So yeah, and one thing I really like about this season is they're really clever in what they're doing with the title of each episode. So each episode is titled as like the way you would read it on a license plate. For example, the episode 3 of season 1 is NTHLAW1. So I read that as not the law one. If I'm wrong, correct me. Episode 5 is CRZSRDS. I read that as crossroads. And then you got other stuff like drive through, DRV, THRU, Nut House, NUTHOUZ, Evelyn, EV3, L1N. So stuff like that. I thought that was really cool to do if your show is about cars, and then each title of the episode you kind of give it a quirky like license plate thing. I thought that was a really cool thing, a nice little extra thing to do. So yeah, season 1 we follow this main character called John Doe, and he is what is referred to as a milkman. So the premise of the show is there's a big cyber attack, and it kind of destroys or like creates a virus to all technology in the world. So that kind of falls to the wayside, and then it starts to go to like a lawless kind of like wasteland style world. So the first episode, a motor mouth outsider is offered a better life if he can deliver a package across a wasteland. So he delivers a package to New San Francisco, and all of these, there's like major towns, and they're all walled up. So anything on the roads is just lawlessness and people out there killing each other and just trying to survive. So he makes a name for himself, and he becomes real famous because he's been doing it for years, and usual milkmen just last a few months. So he's clearly good at what he does, and that's why he gets recruited by someone. So John Doe is what he goes by, and that's Anthony Mackie. He gets recruited by a woman called Raven, and that's the great Neve Campbell. And she offers him a job if he can deliver a package from New San Francisco to Chicago. Then she will offer him a residency in the town. So he kind of wants to get off the streets and not worry about death every day. So he takes the deal. And then when he's on his way to the trip, we kind of see these other two characters, and it's a brother-sister. And they're running from a character who goes by like the law. And it's a cop. And in the games, there was a cop car that you could select and use, have weapons on it and all that good stuff. So I like that they're kind of making characters from the game's cars, really. And so they're running from him, and then the lawman catches up to the brother-sister and says, one of you can live, but the other one has to sacrifice himself. If not, both of them die. So then the brother gives a gun with one bullet. Brother grabs it, shoots himself.
Oh my God.
His sister is Stephanie Beatrice, who later goes by Quiet because she doesn't speak. She doesn't speak for like the first the entire, I think, first episode. If I remember correct, she doesn't speak at all. If she does, she says like one or two words. but she has very little dialogue in like the first half of the season, which is why she gets the nickname Quiet. So then, and then she's kind of on the run because, as he said, he let her go. He let one of them live if one of them sacrificed himself. So the next one is John finds his mission thwarted by two unpredictable adversaries. Agent Stone recruits new members. And Agent Stone is the lawman. That's the actual driver's name. The guy who gave them the proposition. And then Quiet kind of runs into John, and then she tries to steal his car, and then in the attempt of stealing the car, they hear this like ice cream truck, and it's the famous Sweet Tooth, and Sweet Tooth is literally the logo of the game. It's an ice cream truck with like a evil clown face on it, and the clown's head is lit on fire. And so that's one of the like main essential characters in the show. It's this real big psychopathic guy who just like loves killing. So they try to get away from him because they know about him, and they take off together. And then he winds up still finding them, and then doing this like one-man show for them. And then she is honest about her review with him, and then he lets them go. And then John and Quiet are caught in an unexpected trap. Agent Stone tests the loyalty of his new recruits. So they come up to like this dam.
Language!
They recognize Quiet, so then they're arrested and they're sentenced to death. And then one of the new recruits, name is Stu, kind of doesn't want unnecessary killing, so John and Quiet kind of talk him into letting them go. And they are able to escape, but Stu stays behind. And then Sweet Tooth ends up making his way to the dam and winds up going on this killing spree, and then lets all the people that were arrested go, and they become fans. But then Stone finds out what happens at the dam, sends a squad out to go kill Sweet Tooth, and in doing that, he kills all the whole squad, and then they kill all of his followers and stuff like that, except Stu. Sweet Tooth takes Stu and his friend Mike, and then they try to escape from him. They shoot him. They think he's dead, and then, but that story takes place a little bit further down of what happens to him. So then John makes a dangerous deal to get desperately needed supplies. Quiet questions her future. So she kind of lies to John, saying where she's headed, and she's actually just on a revenge mission to kill Stone. And then these like nomads find John and Quiet, and they're a group that travels on like semis, but they live in the semis, which is pretty cool. And then they make them a deal that they don't want to hurt them. They'll help them like rebuild their car and stuff like that. And but they have to do a mission for them, and they have to go get this medicine for the leader who's dying. And then Crossroads is episode 5, and Quiet closes in on her search for revenge, and John gets incapacitated, and Sweet Tooth wreaks havoc. So here's where we get kind of a background on... No, sorry. This is where Quiet reaches where Stone is, and she tries to go after him, and then he sets up a trap for her. She falls for the trap, and then she's about to be killed, and then John comes and saves her. And then next episode, Drive Through, John and Quiet seek shelter from a dangerous storm in a familiar place, and Quiet reflects on her past. And here's they kind of have like a reconciling, and they talk to each other about, you know, their relationships and stuff like that. And then John and Quiet make a pit stop. John reunites with a contact. Sweet Tooth bonds with a follower. Yeah, so they kind of team up, and then are making their way to Chicago, and they make a stop at this like broken down, or like this old fast food joint, and they get trapped there because there's these storms happening. It's like like crazy lightning, and the reason the storms happened is because of the nuclear power plants that stopped working or exploded, created like weird weather patterns, and it's a specific storm. So they bunk down there, and they wind up like going at it and start hooking up and stuff like that. So then John and Quiet go undercover on a rescue mission, and John faces an out of control opponent. So here they meet the Holy Men, and I forget the actor's name, but he played Pimento on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So it's a reunion for Stephanie Beatriz and this actor, because he played her love interest at one point in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. What is his name? Let me look. Oh, there it is. Jason Mantzoukas. That's right. He's hilarious actor. So he plays this kind of like priest and captures them, and then John challenges him to a fight, and he loses, so then he gets locked up, and then Quiet breaks him out, and then he fights the priest again, and then loses again, but then loses his car. His car explodes. So then they Quiet gets takes a car and leaves because she thinks John died, and then meets up with the Nomads again, and then has a car, and then they're souping up that car for her, and then they run into Quiet again. So they get that new car because she runs into a person who's called Jackal, and Jackals are people that rob other people on the road, and she takes that person's car. She takes the Jackal's car, and then they soup that car up. They fix that car up, her and John, and then they named that car Roadkill. And now Roadkill was one of the cars that you could pick in Twisted Metal in the game. It's kind of one of the main cars, actually. It was like the levels on it were like pretty evenly spread out, so it was a good car. So then on that one, unexpected allegiances begin to form. Quiet gets to work, and John makes amends. So they patch things up, and they make it to Chicago. Oh, I actually skipped a part. So they stop at a gas station that's a gas station for milkmen, and in that they meet one of John's exes, who's this psycho woman, and he lets it slip what he's doing, and that the package that he's carrying gets him a residency in New San Francisco. So then this big brawl happens for them, because all the drivers are trying to take the package so that they can get a residency. And then they wind up escaping with John and Quiet wind up, beating them all, or just at least escaping. And then they head out, and then they make it to New San Francisco, and Raven, congratulates him, but she says, the package only permits John, not Quiet also. And, they patch things up, and he's starting to fall for her. So he's like, all right, well, I'm not going in without her. And Quiet doesn't want to stand in the way of him getting what he wants, what he dreams of. So she shoots John in the arm, and then they take him in, and then he starts living there. But a thing I forgot to say is that when in the first episode, Raven kind of proposes this deal to John, but she puts on this facade while he's inside, because he's the first milkman to get invited inside the town. And she puts on this whole act. She pretends to have a baby, a husband, makes everybody kind of act like fake and superficial, like everything's all good and great, kind of like the Truman Show. If you guys have ever seen that, where people are acting like everything's all good, but it's not. It's just a front. It was very, very similar to that. So then he goes in, and he's there for a little while, and then a month passes. And everyone's playing their part, trying to convince him that it's a great place to live. And then she winds up telling him, so he goes by another thing I forgot. He goes by John Doe, and it's because he can't remember anything from his childhood. His earliest memory is he wakes up in a car crash as a kid. He has a head injury, and then that's all he can. From then on is the only memories he has. So that's why he goes by John Doe. And So while there, Raven tells him that she actually knows about his past and that he's actually from that town, or from San Francisco before the whole world went to shit. And she finds his old house, and then she takes him to it, and he kind of has flashbacks and realizes that he has a sister. And then she tells him that there is a tournament and that she wants him to be the driver in the tournament. And this person, Calypso, is going to be making the tournament, and they're each going to have drivers. So he winds up escaping and trying. Oh, no, sorry. So in that happening, that he finally realizes why he's there, and then we switch over to Quiet, and Quiet's kind of turned into a jackal, but not by name. She's just out robbing other drivers, and she's giving half of the deliveries to the poor and just kind of spreading it out. And she runs into a group of women that have doll masks over their face. And the leader of the dolls, who we later find out in season 2 are called Doll Faces. She says that Quiet knows her brother, and then that's what we end on. And then there's this little end credit scene where Stu and Mike are at a campfire, just shooting the shit, talking, and then Sweet Tooth shows up, slices Mike in the back, and takes Stu, and then that's the end of the season. So the first season is interesting. It's some fun episodes. They're about like 30-minute episodes each, so it's not too long of a show. And like I said, it's a comedy action style show. And it's pretty good. It's pretty interesting. I enjoy it for what it was. Like I said, I like the characters. I'm a big fan of both, Mackie and especially Stephanie Beatriz. I love her in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So yeah, I mean, the first season was good. I enjoyed it, and then I found out I was getting a second season, so I was hyped for that. And second season just came out. It actually came out this month, July 31st, I believe. I believe it was the last day of July. So second season comes out. John's been doing his thing, doing deliveries inside the town, and then he sets out to reunite with Quiet. She's devising her own plan with Dollface. So he realizes that he's not happy there, and that he misses Quiet and he misses the road. So he kind of sets out on this plan to break out while he's being trained for the tournament. And then he winds up doing that. And then Dollface is the second episode. And John uncovers shocking new details about his past. Quiet forms an unexpected new friendship. This season's been pretty cool. John meets his sister. They establish, a relationship. At first, he's a little hesitant, but throughout the episodes, she starts to tell him about himself, and she gives him his birthday at one point, and it's pretty cool. He's happy to start piecing bits about himself back, and she actually reveals his real name, but he doesn't. He kind of rejects it at first, and still just goes by John and wants to go by John. But yeah, so they realize that they come up with this plan that they want to enter the tournament, and the whole thing about the tournament is that Calypso says whoever wins the tournament will be granted one wish. No matter what it is they want, they will get their one wish. So the Dollfaces come up with a plan that they want to wish for all the walls of the cities to be torn down. So that's what their mission is, and John's a little hesitant to join it, but he kind of tries to talk Quiet out of it, but she's not having it. She's like, I'm joining. So he reluctantly says, all right, well, then I'll join in with you. So episode 3, John attempts to rekindle an old friendship. Quiet lends a helping hand to her new ally. There's this new, kind of pain in the ass girl who tries stealing from the Dollfaces. She goes by Mayhem. And she kind of takes her under her wing reluctantly at first, but ends up doing it. Next episode, John and Quiet plan a heist for vital weaponry. Sweet Tooth and Stu are dragged into the operation. So they make it to this town. I think it's called Diesel Town. And there is where everyone goes to buy weapons for their cars. So they make a way to sneak in and get like really high-powered weapons. They want to steal the high-powered weapons. So they make this whole plan, and they try doing the plan, and then in doing the plan, John and Quiet kind of like rekindle that relationship that they have, and they wind up hooking up again, but then lose all the weapons, and this whole funny stuff happens. And Sweet Tooth is there, and Sweet Tooth fights his sister Dollface, and then, or they're called the Dolls, and the leader's called Dollface. I think, yeah, that's what it is. So then she finds this like ATV, the sister doll, the Dollface. She finds this ATV that's like souped up with guns and shit. So then, and they steal this like weapon. This missile's called a boomerang, and that's the only weapon they're able to get out. And she gets an EMP blast and puts it on her vehicle, her little ATV. So they get ready for the tournament. She's gonna enter. Dollface says that she's gonna enter the tournament too, because the more of them in there, the higher chance for them to win. But she's gonna enter on the little ATV. Mayhem says she's gonna enter it, and there's no use in talking her down. So they just give in and let her do her thing. So the next episode, as the tournament kicks off, John and Quiet battle through a grueling qualifying round. Qualifying round was crazy. So they all get there, and you kind of see all the drivers come up. Oh, I've actually, one episode was kind of one of those episodes where Dollface and John try bonding, and she takes him to an old like drive-in theater, and she just tries saying like, oh, you know, when you're a kid, you used to love coming here, and you know, our dad used to bring us here. And then they meet Axel, and Axel is the vehicle where it's a guy, and he has two giant wheels next to him, and that's the vehicle. It's him holding, like, not holding, but harnessed in as this big, tall, muscular black guy. He's just like, he's like this, and then he controls everything, and he drives, and he's like part machine. He's like some experiment. And that was in the game. That was one of the vehicles, was a dude with two giant wheels. So they meet him and help him escape, because he's the guy who created him, kept him there, and they help him escape by killing that guy. And so he leaves and he joins the tournament. So there they meet him again, and then we meet a bunch of other drivers and other cars, kind of like from the games, which is pretty cool to see. And then the qualifying round was they had to grab a package, and then they had to each race to Tournament Town, which is where all of the rounds will take place. And it was over this just like big ass stretch of road, and they just had to make their way through it, but they're all trying to kill each other and stuff like that. And then so the packages that they take are GPS tracked, and then they start dropping like missiles from the sky down onto where they're driving. And Quiet kind of sabotaged Mayhem's car, so she couldn't go, but somebody died immediately before leaving the like garage where they all started, and Mayhem sneaks into that car and takes it. So she's in trouble. They fall back to help her, and then they help her get through, but then so they're all trying to make their way through, and then Dollface falls back to help them, because she tries using the EMP, but the EMP fails. It doesn't work. So then there's this guy named Grim who's on a motorcycle, and this season kind of has like a supernatural element to it. So one of the characters, Grim, who's on the motorcycle, he was let out from a mental institution. So when he kills people, you see him like taking their soul out, and you see it happening. Like you see like, you know, like lights and stuff and mist coming out of the people. But then we find out that that's not happening. That's just in his head. So he's just like, I guess I want to say like schizophrenic or like something like that, or has multiple multiple personality disorder or something like that. Because he talks in different voices and stuff, and he kind of plays as if he's it's the different souls that he's reaping. But we see later on that we see him doing it, but we see it from somebody else's view, and we don't see anything. Like, you don't see lights or mist or anything coming out. You don't see the soul coming out. So that was the first clue to that. But then later on, something happens with Calypso where his eyes like go demonic, and they all fill up like a reddish black, and then they go away. So I'm like, they're kind of like introducing a supernatural element, which is kind of cool. And I wonder if that has to deal with him being able to grant a wish. So yet to be seen. Right now, only 7 episodes are out. The season finale happens on the 28th of August. So we will find that out. But yeah, so far the season's pretty cool. So when she falls back to try to hit the EMP, it fails, and she winds up having to just try to. It's her and Grimm going at it on the big runway, kind of, I guess. And then she kind of takes care of him. She doesn't kill him, but she kind of escapes him. And then as she's driving away, he shoots and hits her mask. So she takes off her doll mask and puts it on the handlebars and kind of shoots at him, makes him go away or something like that. And then as she's driving, we think she's about to make her way to the finish line, and then she gets like stabbed through the chest or through the abdomen with some kind of like spear or something like that. And then she falls off, and if the package that you're carrying gets damaged, a missile comes down and kills you, because you're supposed to make it through without any problems. You're supposed to make it through with that package intact. So she gets we find out she gets killed by, like, I think they're called Knights of Kentucky. There's these guys in like what looks like knight armor, and they get out to kind of like, I guess, kill her or take her package because theirs is damaged, I think. So they get out, and then she shoots the package that she's holding, and then a big bomb comes down and kills them all, which is a bummer. And then everyone makes it across the line, and Rogue kills the last one, which is down and quiet. And then another thing I forgot, Raven is one of the people, but Raven is a new person this season. It's not Neve Campbell. It's I forget the actress's name. She played she was in She-Hulk. Where's her name? What is her name? Give me 1 second. Where is she? I'm even forgetting her name. Madison. She played Madison in She-Hulk. That's who it was. So let me see if I can find. Patty Guggenheim. Patty Guggenheim. She's funny. She's a funny actress. She played Madison in She-Hulk, and she was the drunk chick. So she's Raven now, and she joined the tournament because John left, and he was her driver. So she joined, and she was the first one across the finish line. She has badass, like, Porsche-style cars. Pretty cool. So Dollface dies, and then Roadkill makes it through, and they're looking for Dollface, and then he tells them wait, because Calypso thinks that that's all the drivers that are there, and then as John's looking out, he sees the ATV just drive up with Dollface's mask on there, and then he knows that she's dead. So he's kind of dealing with that, and they're bummed about that. And then the next episode, they're all and they get put up in like a school, an old abandoned school, and that's like their living quarters. And the rules are you can't kill anybody outside of a round. If you do, you're disqualified. So, and apparently Grimm and Sweet Tooth have a history where Sweet Tooth wants to kill Grimm like bad. So, after they settle in, Calypso tells them they each are waiting in like the cafeteria, and one by one they go in to tell Calypso the wish. So they get to make their wish. And then so then after that, oh no, it's actually one by one they go in. John and Quiet go last. And John and Quiet go in. John puts the doll mask on it's a well that they make their wish. So they pick up a coin and drop it and make their wish. And then they make their wish. They say, Quiet says, it's very important to say this. Quiet says, we wish for all the walls in all the cities to be torn down. And then they go to leave. Because after they make the wish, a little exit light pops up. And as they go to leave, John realizes he forgot the mask on the well. So he goes back, he picks it up, and he's looking at the mask. And he has this moment of like a thought of his sister. And then he picks up a coin and says, I wish his sister, I forget, I don't know if he said her real name. I think he did. But he wishes her to come back to life, to be alive again. And then he throws it in. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that negates Quiet's wish or if it's his own wish. So like if they win, they have to choose one of them. I don't know what's going to happen with that. And unfortunately, that happened in the last episode that aired in episode 7 called Hit and Run. And that one, we don't know. It's not, the other episodes are not yet. So we're going to find out, which I'm anxious about that. So first round starts. Calypso says in the first round, since Roadkill came in last, they get a 1 minute head start. And the objective of the round is to get these passes to be able to leave the round. So they have to go to where you grab a pass, and that pass you're able to leave. If you guys ever seen that Netflix show The Floor is Lava, it's kind of like that, where they had to grab a pass in order to exit the room. So they had to grab a pass but they can't cross the line to get out of the like combat area, the arena, it will say. If they try to leave without a pass, that's like some crazy ass spikes. Basically, they die. So, they get a 1 minute head start, and they have a GPS that shows specifically where each pass is. But for the other drivers, there'll just be like big, like pink smoke by wherever the passes are. So John's dealing with this whole thing about him making his own wish, and then he's driving, and Quiet's on the navigation. She keeps telling him, "Oh, make it right here," and he just keeps going straight. So I make it left here, and he makes a right. So he's all over the place. So they basically, their 1 minute head start was for nothing because they don't get a pass. It's all him messing up. So then, because he has a doll face right like by the shifter, like where the radio would be, he had it put there. So it's like messing with his head. So then they switch seats. She starts driving, and then but since their 1 minute heads up, or their 1 minute head start is up, now all the drivers are in. So now everyone's going where passes are, and they're fighting. They get out of their vehicles to get the pass, and they're fighting there. And each time they go to try to get the pass, whoever is there with them beats them, like either beats them up and takes it or beats them to it. So then they get to the last one, and it's just the Holy Men, and it's Roadkill, so John and Quiet. And then the Holy Men beat them up and take the weapon, that boomerang missile I was telling you guys about. And John goes to use it, but then they steal the weapon, they beat him up, steal that boomerang weapon, get in the car, and then John and Quiet are after them to try to catch up so that they can get the pass. And right before that, Sweet Tooth gets a pass, and he's leaving the arena, and Grim is right behind him, and Grim is on the motorcycle. So since Grim doesn't have a pass, right before Sweet Tooth passes the finish line, Grim Grim jumps, like hits a ramp kind of, and lands his bike inside Sweet Tooth's truck, ice cream truck, and then they pass the line. So he kind of got out through that way, which I don't see how that's not disqualifying, but whatever. So then back to John and Quiet. So they're after them, and then the Holy Men take out the boomerang missile, and they fire it, and then boomerang missile goes straight to Roadkill, which is John and Quiet. And right as it's about to hit their car, it stops the projectile on this end, switches to this end, and goes back to where it was fired from. Which I don't get. What the hell is the point of that missile? Why would you make a missile that would come back to you? This is the dumbest thing. So then, it blows up the Holy Men. They take the pass, and then they leave, and they survive for the round. And then, after the dust settles, John and Quiet are back in their room, and he apologized to her. She's like, "Look, we can't afford another day like that. You were off, this and that." And he apologizes, and then he reveals to her, because he doesn't want to lie to her, and he reveals to her that he made his own wish. And then the episode ends, and then that's where we're at in the season. Like I said, season finale is on August 28th, so I'm excited for that, which I believe it's probably going to be like 3. They've been dropping them in like clumps of episodes. So I think the first drop was 4 episodes. No, I think the first drop was 3 episodes, and then 2 and 2, if I'm not mistaken. Or it was 3 episodes and then 4. I'm not quite sure. So the first season got 10 episodes, so I would imagine this second season will get 10 episodes, and there's only been 7 so far. So we're going to see how the tournament plays off, and then, what happens with that whole wish thing, which is what I'm super excited to find out. But yeah, let me know if you guys have checked this out. What are your thoughts on it? I am, like I said, a big fan of the video game. It was from the 90s, and I know some of you all weren't even born yet, and that makes me sad. But yeah, I was around, and it was a fun time. It was cool playing a video game that was pixelated as hell. But you guys liked it apparently, because Roblox is huge, and that's basically what PS1 looked like. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Stone ratings. I'm going to give you guys my stone ratings on it. As a fan of the video game, I got to say it's hitting the nostalgia part for me. The comedy's there. The action's there. The story's not bad. Like I said, it's funny. You got your shoot 'em ups. I'll watch anything Stephanie Beatrice is in, honestly. Huge crush on her. But not only that, she's an awesome actress. I'm going to go so far, I'm going to give this a 4 stones. Yeah, I think it's a solid show. I think it's good. It's not... It's nothing to be like, stop everything to watch this show. But it's like, hey, if you got something you want to check out that's, while you're in between the seasons of the show that you love, check out Twisted Metal. It's pretty fun, especially if you're a gamer and you play the old game. I think if you played the old games, you'll kind of dig this show. It's pretty cool. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. I don't think it's gonna win Emmys, but it's a lot. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, that was my review on Twisted Metal. I don't know if I'll be able to give a review on it. Possibly. Maybe I'll do like another little quick video, let you guys know the ending and what I think of that. If not, check out our Instagram. I'll probably put something up on there, but I don't see my stone rating change from 4. I can honestly say I know it's not going to drop, but it might go up. I don't know how the season finale is going to work. But I'm pretty sure it's going to stay at 4 stones. So if I can't give you guys another episode, we'll just leave it at 4 stones. So yeah, next up, hopefully Kike can make it back to filming, and we will still cover Fantastic Four. I'm excited to bring you guys that episode, because that was a good, such pun intended, that movie was fantastic. I saw it twice in theaters. It was really good. I was surprised at how good it was going to be. I was surprised at each character portrayal, how well it was done. But yeah, I'm not gonna give too much without talking about it with my buddy Geeke. So as soon as he makes it back, we will give you guys that. And then Eyes of Wakanda, check that out. We'll try to give you guys a review on that. Pretty sure we'll be able to, because I don't think we have much coming up since there's no big Marvel movies coming out. I don't think there's any DC movies on the horizon as far as like coming out soon. So I think we're gonna have some room to like cover some stuff. So we should be able to give you guys Eyes of Wakanda soon. If not, we'll find something. Or hey, comment down below if you guys are watching something that you guys want us to check out. We're down to watch, some new stuff. Doesn't have to be comic book related. Doesn't have to be superhero, sci-fi related. If you guys dig a show or dig a movie that's really cool to you and you want to hear our take on it, drop it in the comments. Send us a message on Instagram. Comment on a story, what have you. Get in contact with us. There's plenty of ways to do it. We would appreciate it. I'm a big movie TV guy. I know Geek is too. I know he likes reality shows, but he's down to watch a series. So yeah, let us know what you guys want to hear. Like I said, I think we have some time, so we might be able to give you guys some episodes. But that's going to do it for me today. Thank you guys for joining me, hanging out with me. Since my buddy wasn't able to make it, I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for checking this episode out. So yeah, it's gonna do it for me. Hope you guys check out this show, the finale of it. I think it's gonna be good. Let me know what you guys think of it. And even though he's not here, Geek, I am with you till the end of the line. Thanks.
If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Also hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all our new episodes and more.